Hey, Coach, the offense in the second half, the pretty good balance. You dictated the run a lot. 7 of 11 on third and fourth down, 9 minutes time of possession advantage, and more importantly, no penalties or turnovers. Is that the vision you have for this offense when everything's clicking?
I would say so, yeah, Gary. I thought multiple guys stepped up, as I mentioned last night. We were able to possess the line of scrimmage in some ways. We didn't really break any big ones, and there's definitely some meat left on the bone. And those runs that were about, those 3.5, 4 yard, 5 yard, 6 yard runs that we need to kind of clean up a few things so we can make those 8 to 10 yard runs. But leaning on the run in overtime, I thought was obviously big, and that's definitely a recipe of somewhat success for us. So I was definitely proud of the guys up front, the runners. There's, like I mentioned, meat left on the bone still, but really proud of the way that they competed in the run game and fought their tails off.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Jamal, followed by Mark.
What up, Coach?
What's going on?
Pretty long injury list coming out of this one. Can you give us an update on any of the guys?
Yeah, I'll hold off on the updates right now until the injury report comes out on Wednesday.
Um, the job
But
that
you're right. But yes, we there was quite a few, and it was throughout the game, in and out. I really appreciate the guys that did try to keep coming back in and try to help us win the game, and then the guys that obviously needed to step up because of some of those injuries, Jamal, and proud of those guys and their coaches for getting them ready to play and made plays for us. So definitely a little bit of a laundry list, though.
in that same vein, Tim Jones, Austin Trammell. I mean, for those guys to kind of step up in the big moment, crunch time, Trammell has the kickoff return. Tim Jones made the catch.
Yeah.
How big was that? I mean, how much confidence did you have in those guys? I mean, Tim Jones hasn't been with the team for that long, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool to really see those guys step up. I mean, Tram with the return, he was also open on another route where Tim had the shallow cross. Austin ran a great route on the outcut over there. Parker was open. Those guys stepped up in a major way on the bus after the game on bus one. You had those three guys were all in the back of the bus, kind of hanging out together, and went back there and talked to them for a while. Was really proud of their ability to step up and remain the course, and for Tim, especially just getting here and you know he made a huge play for us. So blocked their tails off out on the perimeter as well. So was really huge for those guys to step up in a major way.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, Jamal.
Mark, followed by Mia.
I got a couple. Quickly, Devin Lloyd, is you expect him back? I know you don't want to get into the injuries, but is Lloyd a guy who's really super close?
Yeah, I would say he's getting a lot closer. I would say we definitely the Cavs, man, are a different. I went through a calf, um, you know, debacle in Tampa last year in terms of some of the defensive linemen and defensive players having calf injuries and bringing them back too soon. Sets you back in a major way. So we just want to make sure we're doing right by Devin and doing right by our team to not bring him back too soon.
Okay, and did you guys hear anything from the Hall of Fame on regarding Cam Little, his kick? Like, do they want his cleats? Do they want his jersey? Anything like that?
Yeah, they're in touch, I think.
They're in
So,
touch. Okay. And then
um,
last one, it may have gotten overlooked a little bit, but Trevor's scoop on the trick play, Trevor's little shortstop play, and then Logan Cook's hold on the game tying field goal. How good were those two to
yeah,
do
you're
that? I
right.
mean, those things could have been completely gone awry.
I mean, just perfect. Us, we try to do a throwback and create it goes like that. So kind of on par. But a huge play from Trev being able to do that and give us an opportunity to throw down the field or at least make it a non-negative play. And then you're right, the hold to go into regulation was a huge hold, right? That was the one at the end of the game, right? Yeah, that was a huge hold. Um, Big time moment from both obviously Cam and Logan in that situation. Our specialists obviously can continue to do some good things. Logan only had the 2 punts, but big clutch moments, right, from both of those guys, absolutely.
Mia, then to O'Halloran.
Hey, Liam, we'll do two for me. Since we're on the subject of special teams, how would you evaluate the kickoff return yesterday? Since obviously Mostert had that really big one in the second half and felt like there were holes at different points in the coverage.
Yeah, we got to do a much better job getting off blocks. I mean, that's the reality of it. The kickoff game is not a ton of scheme. Like, you know what I mean? You only can do so many things on kickoff. You've got to whoop blocks. And we have done that. We have shown multiple instances in games of doing that at a high level. Credit Vegas for obviously sticking on their blocks, and Mostert he's dangerous, man. He's been a dangerous player for a long time. So we didn't do a great job getting off blocks and keeping contain a few times, and so we definitely need to improve in that area coming up against one of the best special teams units in the NFL in Houston.
And then to the point of the offensive line, and I know you're not going to comment on injuries, totally respect it, but I'm curious, the eligible tackle and then Chuma when Cole had to slide to left guard, how much of that was necessitated by the fact that you only had two tight ends healthy up on game day versus the reality of you want to run the ball more?
Yeah, that was going in. We definitely had a thought process of using the jumbo more. Specifically, obviously Cole in that instance, and if Chuma was called into it as well, to have confidence in those guys that have stepped up in multiple other games for us. And then shoot, you're down to one tight end when Hunter goes down. So that definitely made it a necessity to live in a little bit more jumbo, so we weren't killing Johnny Munt, only being the one tight end and giving us the ability to run the ball in 12 personnel, but kind of being in more of a heavy set. So it was something we saw on tape that we felt we could take advantage of them with some of the tight end or the tackle wing position that we were utilizing, and running those plays to the boundary and then back to the field, those same plays kind of over and over again, which gave us some critical yards and allowed us to hold on to the football. So was very proud of Cole. He had a great look in his eye the entire game. Wanted it, he wanted to keep playing. I mean, the guy was running on and off the field. Think about how much he ran and did in the game, because he's not sure if we're keeping him in on the play or not. We're trying to figure out personnel all throughout the game. And honestly, Vegas early on in the game was giving us some different looks defensively from a personnel match standpoint than what they had initially been doing with Jamal Adams. They played a little bit more dime almost with Jamal at backer, Chin at the nickel position, which was just a little bit different from a targeting standpoint, which we needed to, once we figured that out and settled in, it definitely improved things. And we looked at where we could use the jumbo as a little bit of a mismatch for us.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
O'Halloran, then to D-Rock.
Hey, Leah. For me, you rolled out the Wildcat yesterday. What led to that, and how much had you been repping that in practice during the season until this week?
Yeah, we've been repping it now for I would say at least 3 weeks or so. A lot more on the bye, for sure. With some that Shane Waldron actually had used a good amount of in Seattle numerous times over the years. I used it a little bit at Kentucky. There with Ray Davis a couple of years ago. And so we had a kind of 2-play package and wanted to make sure it's like, hey, man, it doesn't matter what this is, we're getting a runoff. It's not a check. It's not anything. It's getting the ball directly in ETN's hands and let him go kind of do something with it. That was the thought process, was to make sure we got off more run attempts. And that's kind of, we wanted to give them something maybe that they weren't prepared for coming off the bye. It was definitely something that helped us at times. So that was something that Shane had brought up a few weeks ago. We implemented it, have been practicing it, because it's a little bit for a non-quarterback, right, to be sending a motion, using his foot for the cadence and just the timing of some of that stuff. So we didn't want to pull it out maybe a little too quickly. As you can see, when we put in a new trick play, it didn't quite go well the first time doing it. So we needed a little bit more time to practice.
Yeah. Then second for me, the operation of the play clock yesterday. I mean, in overtime, you were trying to bleed it. I get that, but down to 2, down to 1, probably on about a dozen plays. Were you okay with Trevor bringing it all the way down and how he was snapping it that late?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was the whole point in overtime, was to eat as much clock as possible. And I didn't really ever feel I didn't feel like we were stressed out at all when it came to, I mean, you look at the National Football League all the time, quarterbacks are operating at 1 second. I mean, that's part of it. That's part of the game. You have to be able to operate with the clock, especially with the personnel changes, the people that we're not even sure who's healthy on the sideline half the time last night. So, I think some of that had to do with it, but I actually felt like we were in a mode of panic or not able to get plays off.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to D-Rock, then to Shipley.
When you guys put in a trick play and then rep it for weeks and weeks and weeks and then call it and then it doesn't work, what's the reaction? Does that drive you crazy?
No, we didn't put the toss in. The toss was new this week. The throwback was new. The Wildcat installed weeks ago. Obviously, time on task, practice. It was well executed. We put the throwback in this week as something we felt like they've been hit on it before. We've seen it on Saints hit them on it last year for a touchdown. We wanted to call it when we crossed the 50. TJ threw it pretty well in practice back to Trevor, and it just didn't execute well in the game.
One real quick, and then I've got another one. Trevor is supposed to undergo some further testing. Do you have an update on Travis Hunter and how those tests came out yet?
Nothing new. I have absolutely no new news on quite what we're truly expecting here.
Okay. And when you look at this season so far, you won a Monday night game where Trevor tripped twice and ran on touchdown. You just won a game where you blocked a 2-point conversion pass and you had a guy kick the NFL record field goal. Is that a lot to kind of absorb in your first year as a head coach?
Yeah, I think, look, you look around the league every week and you see crazy plays that kind of dictate outcomes and wild finishes, and there's part of luck. I mean, luck is a part of this game. And ultimately, the guys just keep sticking with it, right? And finding a way to stay in it and battle. And look, as you guys know, I mean, we rep batting balls down weekly, like all the time. So yeah, you got lucky because the guy was open, but also D Ham used a fundamental and technique in which, we practice and rep and emphasize every week and made a play. So, we're 4-1 in one-score games, and they're obviously, some of them are weird and wild and different and can be frustrating, but to come out with a win, I think Cam Little might have said it really well last night in his presser, is nobody cares at the end of the year. You look at your record, and win's a win.
Thanks, Liam.
Thank you.
This is the last one we'll have time for, John Shipley.
Hey, Liam, thanks for doing this. But Buster's interception, does that rep kind of show why you guys have always been so high on him and why you guys think he's such a fit and what you want to do?
Yeah, it's just his feel for zone coverage has always been something that we've appreciated. We probably, we went into the game wanting to play a little bit more match man to try to get on them and help our pass rush. But then, obviously losing Travis and then Jay Lou may have put our guys in some tough spots in some of the man coverage, and maybe not what we're best at the moment in some instances, and against a really good player as well. So Buster's got great vision and some anticipation. So just need to continue to find positive ways of putting these guys in a position to be successful down in and down out.
Thanks, Liam.
Thank you.